Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing Candy Cross. Just to confirm, Candy Cross, not Candy Crush. This is indeed a puzzle. That's a Sudoku puzzle, I should point out. That's all about candies, and I'll explain in a second when I bring it up. Now, for those of you that saw some of my content in the weekend, as usual, thank you very much for enjoying it and commenting about it. But many of you have now pointed out that I really should go back and try and actually solve the difficult puzzle that I passed on. So just as usual, I'll keep difficult puzzles for the weekends. I'll solve it at some point during the week, make sure I record it, and then post it for probably Saturday or Sunday. But after a weekend filled of relatively difficult puzzles, I'm actually kind of quite glad to be back to something easier once again. So let's take a look at what we have in store for today. So this is Candy Cross by Niverio, and I imagine the cross and the candy is very much in reference to the cross in the middle and all of these different colored dots, which I will explain in a second as we take a look at the rule sets. So, first rule, Sudoku, place the digits 1 to 9 in each row, such as this row, each column, such as this column, and each box, such as the boxes are outlined with these thicker back lines, and no repeats in any of these. Killer, so digits inside an outlined cage cannot repeat and sum to the value given at the top left corner of the cage. So kind of just to reiterate what that means is you'll see all over the grid are kind of cells that are defined or grouped together with these dashed lines. And what that's saying is that these three cells that are highlighted by these dashed lines must sum up to the value shown in the top left corner, in this case 15. So these three cells are 15, these three cells are 13, 12, etc. We have Ambiguous Kropki / XV dots. And this is the part that I really am looking forward to. So it is a traditional Kropki / XV puzzle. The only challenge that we have today is that the colors are unknown. So yellow could be a white dot, a black Kropki dot, it could be a V, it could be an X. We have to find out. So the grid is cluttered with 4 differently colored dots. Told you. The 4 colors represent the 4 constraints of White Kropki, Black Kropki, V, and X clues. Also mentioned that, I think. Which color represents which constraint must be deduced by the solver. Now, detailed explanation, so I will just briefly touch on those in case you've not come across them before. So imagine this yellow dot in here is actually a white dot. What that's saying is that digits along a White Kropki dot have to be consecutive. So if that was a 2, for example, this would have to be 1 or 3 because it needs to be consecutive with a 2. Had the yellow been a White Kropki dot, we need to figure that out. Let's try a Black Kropki dot. Now we have a blue one here or a purple one, if you so choose. I think I'm going to call them purple. And what a Black Kropki dot is it has to be in a 1 to 2 ratio. So if that was a 2, this has to be in a 1 to 2 ratio cell because it's connected with, imagine a black dot, not purple here. So that could be a 1, as in literally 1 to 2 ratio, or a 4, as in 2 times 2 is 4. So as long as one of the cells is a double of the other cell, you have implemented the black dots correctly. Let's continue. We have a V sum. So imagine this purple dot now is a V, not a purple dot. And what that means is that the 2 cells that are connected by this dot have to sum up to 5. So continuing with our 2 example, that means that if that was a 2, this would have to be a 3 to make sure these 2 cells on aggregate sum up to 5. There's of course the other possibility of an X. So again, keep using that imagination. Imagine this is not a purple dot, but an X joining these 2 cells. And that was still a 2. What that's now saying is these 2 cells must sum up to 10, and therefore this is now an 8. So hopefully that's enough information for you to have a think about this puzzle and try and actually determine which color is which. I'm not entirely sure I know how to go about doing it, and I'm going to try very hard to avoid guessing and just use logical deductions for all of this. So If you fancy, well, I mean, if you're not on a diet and you actually want to enjoy a Candy Cross, as you've seen in the picture in the thumbnail, link will be in the description down below as usual for you to play along. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So I am actually tempted. I mean, take it all in, I guess, first. There's a lot of symmetry in the puzzle, and it's kind of all pointing you towards box 5. So you have these chevrons kind of on the edges, each with either a yellow dot or a red dot. You have these, which are quite interesting, kind of stripes or lines with purple dots, exclusively purple dots, I should say, all pointing towards the cross in the middle. And the cross in the middle has all 4 dots in there, hence the very colorful picture that you saw in the thumbnail. We also have this other set of chevrons. I'm not entirely sure what they're all about. But regardless, what I keep thinking of is that I really should be starting in here, because I need to come up with a set of digits, particularly in the middle, I should say, that is able to connect to a V, able to connect to an X, able to be on a black Kropki dot, and able to be on a white Kropki dot. Now, the white Kropki dot, I'm almost tempted to disregard entirely for quite a bit of the solve of this puzzle, because everything goes on a white Kropki dot. But the fact that it has to join with something else to add up to a 5, it means that whatever's in the middle has to be a low digit, because its partner, whatever it may be that adds up to 5, is also another 2 low digits. So it'll be 1 or 4 or 2 and 3. Now, what I think we need to think about next is essentially I think one breaks, because one of them is a white dot. There I am actually using it immediately when I said I'll ignore it for a while. And one of them is a black dot. So imagine if that was 1. And I'm going to assume yellow is white, purple is black, Kropki dots. That would be a 2. That would be a 2. I've broken the puzzle. So from the options in the middle, we're down to 2, 3, 4. The 2 could be joined with... I mean, loads of options, but actually not as many as you might think. Because remember, the 2 has a V. Let's say that's the V. That's the only way to add up to 5. Then a black then a white dot, and it can't be the 3 because I've used it, so that would be a 1, and a 4, and an 8. That's the only way you could solve it. I mean, I don't know which is which, but that's the only way you can solve it with a 2. And I'm guessing this is too low. 9, 10, 18. Yep, that is definitely not 24. So from our initial options of 1, 2, 3, 4, we've eliminated 1 and 2. Let's take a look at 3. I have a strong suspicion it's 4. I think we're going to find that 3 is also too low. So what of them has to add up to 10? One of them has to add up to 5. Notice that we've used up essentially one of the white dots here as part of the V. So essentially, the only way that we can connect with a white dot would be a 4, and then the black Kropki dot would be a 6. So now we've got 10, 15, 22. Yep, too low. It could have only been ever a 4. And we have our first digit, well, 3.5 minutes in. Not quite the easy puzzle I was hoping for. Right, now the options are going to be, I'm pretty sure the black dot will have to be an 8. So one of these is clearly going to be 6 to add up to 10. One of these is clearly going to be 1 to make sure that it's adding up to 5. So the X's and V's are straightforward once you have a digit. Now the other options is 2 or 8 for the black Kropki dot, or 3 or 5 for the white dot. So I'm just going to keep them in here, or 3 or 5 I said. And I think since we already have 11 in here, we need 13. And the only way I can see of making 13 with these two options is maximizing both of them. So one of them becomes an 8, one of them becomes a 5. That's the 13 plus the 11 to get us to 24. Hopefully that all made sense to everyone. Right, we have a start. I mean, it's not much of a start, to be fair. So these would be 2, 3, 7, 9. I am over pencil marking, but I think it's time to start thinking about the colors, sort of putting it off for as long as I can. So I'm going to write down all the black Kropki pairs for a second, because I imagine I'm going to need to come up to these regularly for a moment. So these are the all of them. I'm not going to write down the X's or V's. I think these are fairly intuitive. And just a quick refresher on black Kropki dots, you need them to be multiples of 2. So it could be a 1-2 pair, a 2-4 pair, a 4-8 pair, or a 3-6 pair. There are no other pairs when it comes to black Kropki dots. Give it a go, you will find there are none. So a better way of writing these is almost actually more interested in their sum for a second. So I have 3, 6, 9, and I can't even write the last one, 12. No, maybe I don't need the sums for a second. Maybe I need to think about them independently. Right, here's something I'll give you for like almost free. Look at these cells, these purple cells, and I think it's very much meant to attract your attention. I think the yellows and the purples, just because of the abundance of them, they're almost the ones to look at next, particularly all of these that are pointing at the cross. So, like the question we have is, what is purple? Is it a white Kropki, a black Kropki, an X, or a V? Now I can tell you it is absolutely not a V. And the reason for that is if I make this sum up to 5, I have to put 10 in here. Sum up to 5, I have to put 14 in here. So clearly purple is not a V. I think the other thing that I should point out is purple doesn't have any 4s. So, if it is a black Kropki dot, it is eliminating quite a lot of it. And, one of them also has an 8. But, I mean, yeah, I've eliminated the 4-8 anyway with the inclusion of a 4 in the middle. So it is possible. It's just very, very restricted. I mean, so restricted, I'm actually tempted to sort of test it, that this could only be 3-6. Because if I put 1-2 in here, so I can't put 2-4, I can't put 4-8, 1-2 is too small. That would have to be, well, that's 3, that would have to be 12. So that's like nonsense. This would have to be 3-6. To get to 9, then I need to repeat the 6. Isn't that correct? Yeah, 9, I need another 6. That doesn't work. Very interesting. So purple is not, like I'm half tempted. I don't even know if I can actually show you this. So V, X. I'm going to use B and W, as in XV or black or white Kropki dot. So we just proved it's not black. We just proved it's not a V. I mean, I think it can easily be an X. That's the challenge. And then the other challenge, of course, is it can easily be a white, I imagine. Let's think about that for a second. So I'm more tempted by the X than the W, and I'm trying to think of why, or how to go about testing it. So the thing to think about white Kropki dots is it always has to have one even, one odd digit. Because they have to be consecutive. You can't have 2 even digits that are consecutive, can't have 2 odd digits that are consecutive. So if I start coloring at random, like orange, blue, orange for odd, blue for even, that would mean I have sort of this pattern. But then I also have an odd one in here. because, this is adding up to an odd. I need an odd number to get to 12. This is adding up to an odd. I need an even number to make sure it remains an odd number in aggregate. This is even. I've got another odd, even, odd, even, odd. So essentially, that breaks. There you go. Because what I have now is 4 odds in every column and every row. I've just highlighted the row and then said, in row 5 and in column 5. And then the question is, where would I put the 6 and 8 in the cross? So I think that leaves white off the table. It can only be an X. And we have, I think we already had a start, but we definitely have a start now. We have eliminated purples as X's. We have confirmed purple as X. So this is a 10, therefore this is a 5. This is a 10, therefore this is a 2, 16, 6, 19, 10 and 9. And now let's just tidy up. And we said purple is a 10, therefore this is the 6. Not sure why I need to actually write anything else. Making green, black, or V. We'll come back to that. And yellow or red, one of them is definitely the White Kropki dot. Again, the white is the least useful one. I keep saying that, but then I've used it a ton, so maybe I should stop saying that. And then what we have in here, well, clearly we don't have 4, 6 in any of these. We also, I'm very tempted to say that's the 8. And why is that? Because I need to have 2 digits, 2 pairs, I should say, that add up to 10. And it can't be 4, 6. But it also can't be 2, 8, because I've already placed the 8. Sorry, the 2. So one of these is 1, 9. One of these is 3, 7. That's the only way I can make this work. And then the 1 is no longer available because I've used it with the 9. So green is a black Kropki dot. And this means, we'll come back to what that means in a second. And then one of these is a 5, one of these is a 5, one of these is a White Kropki dot. And we know which one it is. Look at that, because of these chevrons. So what that's saying is one of these adds up to a 5. One of these is a V. Which means that it's going to leave a remainder, because, if that's a 5, that's a 5. If that's 5, that's a 5. Except I can't place a 5 here in the yellow chevron, because I already placed this 5. So yellow can't possibly be the V. Yellow is the consecutive White Kropki dot, and this is the V, this is the 5, and this is therefore 1, 2, 3, or 4. And we actually know all of them. Super. Can use a little bit of my logic earlier that this is odd, therefore this has to be odd to come back to even, so I can probably pencil mark this a bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just see if I can just focus on getting a few pencil marks in. I know, not traditional for me at all. I now lost the 1, 9 and the 4, 6 in here, so this is 2, 8 and 3, 7. White, we said, is a White Kropki. So that's odd, which requires an even digit to remain odd. Look at that. That's all the options are basically odd except for one even, which is the 2. And this now needs to add up to 11, and they have to be consecutive, so it can only be 5 or 6. 5 and 6, excuse me, not 5 or 6. Let's keep going. Maybe it is an easy puzzle after all, although I am coming up to the 15-minute mark, so I'm definitely taking my time. We said this is a V, Therefore, this is a 7. What else do we have? 5, 6. I don't know what this is. This can still be 2, 3, shockingly, because I can have a 2, 3 in here. Well, I could do 2. This could be 7, and this is 3. This could be 7. No, 7. No, this would be, yeah, 7, and this would be 3, and then nothing is in conflict. So I don't actually know what this is. I know that this is a 10, therefore that's a 6. I may want to do a bit of Sudoku in a moment, because, you know, I've got, well, 5 and 6 that's resolved. 6. When I said a moment, I said like immediately. That's really what I meant to say. And therefore there's a 6 somewhere in here. 6 somewhere in there. 6 somewhere in here. And like tons of spaces still for a 6. So we'll come back to that. 5s, do we know a lot about 5s? We probably do. So 5s is in one of these. On a White Kropki, I could do 5, 4, and 1. So I can't actually eliminate it from the 10 cage. And I don't seem to have a lot more space. In here, I've got a 10. I already knew it was a 10. Sorry. Which one was the black Kropki dot? Green. Yeah, let's think about that for a second. So if I do 1 and 2, that's too low, that's a 10. Doesn't work. I could do 2, 4, in that this is 6 with a 7. That looks entirely achievable. I could do 3, 6, as in 3, 6 is 9, with a 4 in here. Also looks achievable. Then the last option is 4, 8, as in 12 with a 1. That is a ton of options. I'm not sure I like that. I mean, I really should have gone around doing all of the X's and V's immediately. I don't know why I did that. So that's 5, therefore that's 7. We actually have, well, I was going to say a reasonable amount of 7s, but unfortunately we actually have still tons of options for 7 in here. White Kropki dots, this will be odd. This can't be even, that's not a 6. Options could be, well, 1 and 2 with a 9. With 2 and 1. Can't be a 7 anymore. It can be a 5 though, with something that adds up to 7, so that would be 3, 4. I could try and do a 3 in here with a 9. So a 3 would be 4, 5. Well, 5 is not in this cell. And then 1 with an 11, 5, 6, also possible. That wasn't very helpful, if I'm honest. I'm kind of ignoring these V's because I really don't know too much about them. That's not a 2, therefore that's not a 3, but it's not a real big revelation here. And then we said this could be both as well. In fact, I can't even restrict any digit in here, like I did with this 2. So maybe it is this 10 that I've ignored for so long. So yeah, because I can't be a 7, I can't be a 5. 9 is too big. This is 1 or 3. If it's 3, this has to be 7, which is only 3, 4, repeating the 3 and breaking. This is 1, this is 5, this is 4. This is no longer a 1, 4. You know what I meant. It's no longer a 1, 4 pair because there's a 4 looking at it. That's a 3, a 2. That's not 2, 3. That's a 1, 4 pair. We don't know which one it is, but we have digits. We have many more digits now. And this is not 2 or 3. I forgot what that eliminates. 2 and 3 added up to 5. I'm guessing it's the 2 and the 1. So the 1 is gone as well. Notice these are now even. This has to be odd. So it's either a 4, 3 pair as in 7 or a 6-5 pair as an 11. So it's either 1. How did I include 7 as an option to begin with? Because 3-4, I imagine it was 3-2. It's just the 2's now are eliminated. So 3-4 adds up to 7, forcing this to be a 5, which it cannot be. So that is 1, that's 6, that's 5. These are the only options we have. Slow but steady progress. I think we just celebrate it. Look at that, 1-4, looking up here at this V. This is no longer a 1-4 option, this is a 2-3 option, which eliminates loads of options from in here. So this is now 4-6-8. 6 cannot pair with a 4 or an 8. That's 4-8. That's not 8. 4-8 is 12. That's a 1. This is not 1-9. This is 3-7. This is not 3-7. This is 1-9. Have I done... So incredibly, I haven't really touched these initial 10s. I probably should think about them. Let's think about this 10 first. So it's not 1-9. It's not 2-8 because I've pencil marked it. And it's not 4-6 because, again, they're in there. Only option is 3-7, which, look at that, eliminates 3-7. That's 2. That's 8. That's not 2 or 8. That's 3 or 7. Nothing else is there to help kind of fix it up. That's not a 6. What else do I have? I think I've almost used... Yeah, I was going to say I've almost used. I have actually used all the dots at this point. So it's just Sudoku, surely. So, it's not really my strength, if I'm honest. So take a look at 6s. Unfortunately, not really resolved. 5s, this is resolved. Resolved here. That is nearly all the 5s. Now that is all the 5s. 5s are done. That's 9 of them. 1s, very nearly. Actually, more than very nearly. That gives me the 6s as well. I think that is the 6s. Yep. Now carry on with 1s. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to resolve this until I figure out a bit more about 4s, I imagine. Actually, hang on. I can do something about 1s. So take a look at the 1s for a second down there. And notice I can't actually place a 1 in here because I've got a 1-4 looking at this cell. That can be a 1, but this can't be. Now, if you take a look at column 2 now, sorry, column 8, where can the 1 be? It can only be in this cell. That's 1, that's 9. Now, 1s are in here. And ironically, of course, in here with some sort of X-wing. If that's the 1, that's the 1. If that's the 1, that's the 1. Let's move on. Is it 2s next, do you think? Yep. 2, 3, plus these 2. Eliminate all the cells except for this cell. That's a 2. I can actually place this digit. That's a 9. Surely I can make some progress in here. Like 7, that's a 7. That's the 3 because the 2, 3 is looking at this cell. And I know what this cell is. That's a 4. I can finish this row. That's an 8. 4 can only be in here. And this is a 9. Right, that's moving rapidly now. Let's just see if we can keep going. No 9s in here. 9 is in there. See if there's anything easier. 3s, 3s, 3. Yeah, I can't do too much with 3s, unfortunately. 4s, I can't do too much again. So this needs 4, 8, and 7. Only thing I know is the 7 is up here. And the 8 is there. What about, yeah, this 3 means, oh, this 3 means that's a 7. That's a 3, excuse me. We also have an 8 and a 9 in here, it looks like. So we have 8 and 9. We need 1, 4, and 7. That's left. So this is 1 or 7. This can't be 1 or 4. It's just 7. So that's just 1. That's 4. That's 1. That's not a 1. 7s now. That's a 7. That's 4, 8. Not resolved. This 7 looks at this 3, 7. That's a 3. That's a 7. Surely that's all the 7s nearly done. Yep, 3, 7. What more can I do? There's an 8, 9 in here with a 2. Not resolved. This 3 is looking at this 9 and this 3. Can I fill in these boxes? I'm sure I could. I need a 2 in this column. And because of this 2, it's in here. And the last digit is an 8. I need a 4 and a 9. This 4 tells me the 4 is in here with a 9 there. I need an 8, 9 with a 3. This 3 tells me that's the 3. That's an 8, 9, still not resolved. I need a 2 and an 8, 9, which I'm not going to be able to resolve just yet. So I'm not going to look at 2s because they're complicated. Ah, well, 2s, 2s. 2 has to be in here. That 2 is there. That's a 2. That's 4, 8, or 9. Not resolved. That's 4 or 8. That 4 actually finally breaks this pattern that's been going around in circles. So that 8 doesn't actually help me with my 2, 8, 9 down here, because that's 2, 9. That's 2, 8. That's not 8 now. That's 4, 9. That 4 keeps on working. That's a lot of work it's doing. That's a 4. That's an 8. That's a 4. That 8 gives me the 9, and therefore the 2, the 8, the 9, and the 2 and the 3 are now finally resolved. And if I've not made any mistakes, that's the solution to today's puzzle. It's a stunning puzzle, Niverio. I mean, once you sort of, I don't know, once, like, I think it is approachable in the sense that you're constantly making, constantly making logical deductions all the time. So, you know, very much the geometry and the setting of this puzzle points you towards, I guess, the name, the candy cross in the middle, which can only be filled with 1, 4, 5, 6, 8. Then having to look at the purples, and I think, again, the geometry and the setting points you towards it, and it takes a bit of work, particularly eliminating the White Kropki dot was problematic before you got it down to an X. And then once you got that down to an X, you know, how you went about sort of solving what's what in there was ingenious with the remaining chevrons that you have dotted throughout the puzzle. So just phenomenal construction, really, really enjoyable. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and the puzzle, and see you back for the next one. Bye for now.